certified holistic nutritionist here at the Energy Shack to talk to you about headaches. It happens to us sometimes. Many of us have gotten into the rhythm of just taking some sort of a over-the-counter medication to get rid of it. But I just want to give you some tips that you can use in case you have a headache. So number one, the first thing you want to check is hydration. Are you drinking or have you had enough water? And that is like probably number one reason. And the reason being is that our head it holds about 75% water. So our body on a whole is about 65% water. But because of all those fatty tissues in the brain, because there's so many nerve connections and communication that happens, lots of cushion in there, but your brain holds about 75% water. So if you have not consumed enough water for the day and your body needs that to keep your heart pumping, it will pull water from the brain. And as it's pulling water from the brain, we're like, oh, I have a headache. So first thing you should do is just check, have I had enough water? And number two, what you should check is, am I eating things that are dehydrating? Maybe you have had enough water for the day, but maybe you've had some salty food, processed food, packaged food, salty chips, something like that that's very dehydrating. Sugar is super dehydrating because when there's too much salt or too much sugar in the body, water is pulled, and especially from the brain, to try to flush that out. So that can also be another issue, is also your salt or your sugar intake because you've had too much of either and your body's getting dehydrated. Another thing that dehydrates us, believe it or not, I know you don't want to hear it, is caffeine. So caffeine is extremely dehydrating. So you may want to skip that. I'd really recommend you would please do it. Skip that coffee or tea and add your water instead. And then when we're talking about sugar or salt, keep in mind that even like a glass of juice or pop, those things are full of sugar, so it's not just I had a candy today or I had a treat today. So the other thing that you want to check is caffeine. If you are used to having a coffee or a black tea or a green tea every single day and you skipped it for that day, you will notice a headache coming on. Why? Because I don't want to go into all those details. That will be in another video, but basically it's an addiction, and when the body is not getting that, because caffeine actually, believe it or not, withdraws blood from the brain, dehydrates the brain, and when it's not there, the body begins to pull and pull and pull, and you and I get a headache, but it would only last for about 2 or 3 days. But again, if you're wondering why you had a headache, those are some thoughts of how or why it could be there. Weather changes for a lot of people create headaches, but what can we do to fix it? So number one, drink plenty of water. Number two, go outside, get some fresh air, do some really deep breathing. Breathe in, hopefully you're standing by a tree, hold it for a few minutes, breathe out as much as you can, and do that 5 or 6 times back and forth. Really deep breaths in, breathe it out, because all of that fresh air adds extra oxygen into the blood, and that oxygen can really help to relieve a headache. And number 3, to help relieve a headache, you will want to do this amazing natural remedy, which can absolutely, almost immediately, fix your headache.